want to bring in Congressman Lloyd Doggett, Democratic Congressman representing District 35, back to the show. Good to see you again.
Good to join you again, Paul.
Lots to talk about, but I do want to get your thoughts briefly here on what we just heard about the comments that have been made in recent days by some Republicans regarding the Lilly Ledbetter Act. Of course, the federal one in place and the state version vetoed by the governor. Your feelings about it?
Well, I think these comments just show tremendous insensitivity to the depth of this problem. We still have, despite my vote in the enactment of the Lilly Ledbetter Act and our determination to get the Paycheck Fairness Act passed in Congress, we still have a serious problem. There are too many women that are not being paid based on merit, that are not getting the level of wages that they should have, and they need a remedy in the courts. Certainly, it was amazing that Governor Perry would veto this act for the state level, but they need also to have the Paycheck Fairness Act approved so that there's a remedy outside of the courts and so that employers are encouraged to have pay equity.
I know that the latter act that you mentioned, there's been an attempt several times in Congress.
That's right. And these recent comments suggest why we have so many problems with Republican obstructionism, because there are some folks out there that just don't believe that this is a serious problem and suggest that women have to negotiate better. I think we need to negotiate better in Congress and get some legal protection here to assure pay equity.
While we have you here on a different topic, healthcare.gov, the deadline of March 31st is approaching for people to get health insurance through the federal exchange here in Texas. You were critical, of course, of the rollout and the problems associated with it, but we've heard some encouraging numbers in the sense of how many more Texans now have enrolled. Your thoughts on where things stand with healthcare.gov and where it's going politically?
Well, I think number one, it remains a great opportunity for many of our neighbors to get affordable health insurance that they don't have today. And if you have a friend or a neighbor that does not have affordable health insurance, they need to explore this opportunity, and they have less than 2 weeks in which to do it before enrollment will end. Now, being a supporter of that act, I'm very disappointed that the administration has not done a better job of rolling it out. Not just the website, but the way they've handled in-person assistance here in Texas. About 9 out of 10 Texans who are eligible to participate in the insurance exchange, most of whom would receive a substantial tax credit in order to get an affordable insurance premium, they haven't participated. The administration bears some of that responsibility. We've had an excellent effort here in Central Texas, especially at Insure Central Texas, and I hope that more of our neighbors will take advantage of that. And then afterwards, as I have been challenging the administration since last August, we need to take a look at what went wrong and try to get it resolved so that the next enrollment period in the fall works better.
While we have you here, developments now in Ukraine, Crimea, the portion of Ukraine that now Russian President Vladimir Putin says is now part of Russia. What do you feel the response should be from the United States? There have been sanctions on individuals, for example, already. What should be the next move?
I think further sanctions are in order. This is a very troubling and outrageous move. It is a move not unlike some other ones we've seen in recent years, where military application is not the best way to solve the problem. And working with stronger economic sanctions together with our European allies may have some hope, if not reversing this move, to see that it does not spread and that the Russians are not undermining eastern Ukraine and causing security threats to our allies across Eastern Europe and in the Balkans.
President Putin has indicated that despite people who think to the contrary, that this is it, basically, that there's no other intentions to go to other parts of Ukraine. Do you trust that?
Well, I know we have a former president that looked into his eyes and thought he saw something there that is different than his current actions. But no, I don't trust him. And the Russians said more or less the same thing about Crimea initially. And so we certainly have to be on guard. It's just that we do not have a good military answer within Ukraine and Crimea. and those who have suggested that we address this problem by adding more troops in Eastern Europe or starting a missile defense system that doesn't work anyway, and some of the other suggestions I think would be very counterproductive. I think economic sanctions, I wouldn't rule out some additional military assistance to Ukraine, and I think Ukraine, again, continuing to indicate that while it wants to be linked to the European Union, it is planning to be a militarily neutral country is important.
We're almost out of time. We have about a minute left, but I do want to ask you about some Texas politics. Of course, you were unopposed. You have an opponent, Susan Narvaez, the former mayor of San Marcos, as a Republican in November. But there has been an effort by the GOP in many states, including Texas, to reach out to Latino voters. District 35 has a lot of Hispanic voters. Is the Latino vote up for grabs for either party in general terms?
Well, the number one thing Republicans need to do is not just talk, but act. And the action that is most important in the near term is to see comprehensive immigration reform. Republicans continue to obstruct what is a bipartisan Senate measure approved last summer. It's been in the House for months. They talk about it. Now they're talking about perhaps changing their party platform on the subject. We need the business community and more folks involved so that we can have strong bipartisan reform. And if some Hispanics like the Republican approach to that, that's the two-party system we have. I think on so many other issues, education, health care, economic development, most Latinos will choose the Democratic Party.
Congressman Doggett, it's always good to see you. Thank you very much.